So let's go into cam 1 and see what's going down. So in the scene camera 1, I have my camera, the A5100. So we want to be adding a scene first. Add cam 1, call it camera source, call it camera main or whatever, but this is going to be your main camera scene which you put within other scenes, and that's very important, and I'm going to get into why that's important. So once we've got our scene set up, you want to go
but this
into
is going
that
to be
cam
your
main
scene,
camera scene,
right-click,
which you put
add the
within
sources,
other scenes, and that's
and
very
add a
important.
video
I'm gonna
capture
get
device
into
within
why
that
that's
scene.
important.
So
once we've got our scene set up, you want to go into that cam main camera scene,
right-click,
add the sources, other scenes, and that's very
add
important.
a video capture
webcam
within
why
that
that's
scene.
important.
So
once we've got our scene set up, you want to go into that cam main camera scene, add the sources, other scenes, add a video capture device within that scene. So what I do is next you want to go into the camera main camera scene, add the sources, add a video capture device within that scene. So what I do is next you want to go into the camera main camera scene, add the sources, add a video capture device within that scene. So what I do is next you want to go into the camera main camera scene, add the sources, add a video capture device within that scene. From my camera, you can see the green screen here is not well lit. You can see it's kind of dark in the corners, and you'll really see that when I add the chroma key in a minute. So we want to be adding a green screen, right? So let's add a green screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your camera, you're going to right click around filters. Then in your filters, you want to be adding first a color correction. You're going to right click, add color correction. And then after that, you want to be adding the chroma key. Boom, add chroma key. So there we go. Now I've added the chroma key. The defaults are okay, but as you can see in these corners, they're dark and the chroma key isn't bringing out very well. Remember that green screen background I was talking about earlier? Boom. This is why this green screen, I just have this to make sure my chroma key is working. This actually brings it out a lot more, and you can see the areas that I need to really work on. My top areas lit quite well. The bottom areas, where it's the darkest in the corners, are not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into color correction first, and we're gonna change the saturation and the gamma. So let's start bumping up the saturation. As you can see, the chroma keys, what we are doing, we're making the green screen behind us, we're bumping up the saturation to make it more green. So that affects the green screen behind us, and that affects the way the chroma key works. So don't worry about blowing this out right now. Don't worry about blowing your face out. We're going to adjust later, and I'll show you how. So we're going to do this. Again, don't worry about the chroma key as well. We're going to affect that in a minute. As you can see, it's on my hat. So we're just going to get these focus on these corner areas, and we're going to play with the gamma as well. So let's bring the gamma up. Right. So once we've done that, we'll go back to chroma key. Now, a good number for me in the similarity part is 380. I know that 350, 360 is good number for me. So I'm going to affect the smoothness, and I prefer the more jagged edges. So I'm going to put that down to 30. I don't want the smoothness going up too high. I like it around there. For me, I know a good number is 360, 30. So once we've done that, let's go back to color correction. You need to just keep fiddling with these numbers. So as you can see, I'm not blowing my hair anymore. I'm just focusing on these corners, bushing the saturation up. Don't worry about blowing your face out. Don't worry about the color of it right now. We're gonna correct that in a minute. Saturation, turn the gamma up slightly bit more, and now we have a good chroma key. We're just focusing on the background here. Beautiful, brilliant. But the problem is our face is now blown out. So we're gonna stick around there. I'm gonna probably tweak that saturation. We're good. So let's close this now. So as you can see, that green screen, we can turn that off now. My face doesn't look great. So now what you want to be doing, we're going to go over to our camera scene. So camera, whatever you've added, camera source, camera, whatever, we're going to go over to our camera scene. We're going to right click the camera scene. Remember, don't click the sources, right click the scene and add a filter on there. So in the minute, we've got no filters. What you want to be doing is adding a color correction to this scene. So what you're doing is you're affecting the scene and not the source. So our source is already sorted. We sorted the green screen. It looks good. Now we're going to focus on what we actually look like, because you can change this and it doesn't affect the green screen behind you. This is the beauty of having a camera source within this scene here, because now you can affect the camera but not affect your chroma key at all. So this is where what I was mentioning before, we're going to scale it back. So the saturation, we're a little bit blown out, so I can now affect the color of myself without affecting the green screen. So we're going to pull the saturation back about there. That looks cool. And we're going to also mess with the gamma. What I like to do as well is mess with the contrast. So that's, I love like bumping the contrast up a little bit just to get those darker blacks, those deeper blacks, and then the gamma's good as well. About there, I like that. And maybe turn my saturation of my face a little bit down so I don't look orange. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So again, we've not affected the green screen. In fact, if we turn that back on, this layer that we have, just to make sure everything's cool, we're
welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sanjay, and in this video I will show you how you can use mobile phone camera directly in PC or laptop even without using an internet connection. So guys, this is my Android phone, and to do that what we need to do is we need to install an application called IP webcam. So I'm going into the Play Store and type here IP webcam. So this is the application that we need to install. So you can see here it is having large number of audiences. Being used by around 10 millions of users and having good rating too, that is 4.2. So it indicates that it is one of the best application to use mobile phone camera into PC, as it is having large number of audiences. So now I'm going to install it. Accept. After it's installed, now let's open up it. So this is the screen displays when we open it, which is showing all the settings of the application. So if I go one by one, then first one is plugins, which allows you to add more features to the applications. So if I go in it, it is displaying all the plugins that are available for these applications, which you can download to extend the feature. And then So if I go in it, it is displaying all the plugins that are available for this. So this is the screen displays when we open it, which is showing all the settings of the application. So if I go one by one, then first one is plugins, which allows you to add more features to the applications. So if I go in it, it is displaying all the plugins that are available for these applications, which you can download to extend the feature. And then further there is webcam settings, which include video preferences settings, which allows you to set resolution, focus and other video related settings. Similarly, there is effects, which allows you to enable night vision in the camera, and to embed the daytime in videos, and to embed the text as well. And then there is power management settings, motion and sound detections, data logging. Further there is connection settings, which includes local broadcasting, own VIF support, cloud streaming, then audio mode, which is set to enable by default. And then there is get pro options, which allows you to get the pro version of the, which is the paid version of the applications, to get more services. And lastly there is start server option to start the application for video streaming. Now in order to use this application, the first step we need to do is we need to create a local